Good afternoon, students. As I told you in my previous lecture, now I will be explaining you Yagi-Uda antenna. Basically, Yagi-Uda antenna is array antenna. Um, Whatever I have explained you in my previous lecture regarding array antenna, that the n number of elements which we are choosing for the array antenna are all radiating elements, are all active elements. But when it comes to Yagi-Uda antenna, in this case, all the elements in the assembly of that antenna are not actually, or rather they are not the active or driven elements. Okay, so what this Yagi-Uda antenna is, how it is beneficial for certain frequency range, and how exactly it falls, or why it falls under the array antenna, that we can see through this my presentation. Okay, so let us start with the Yagi-Uda antenna. Now, I will start with the designing. Basically, this topic is design of the Yagi-Uda antenna. But along with the design of Yagi-Uda antenna, I will also explain you some significant details and scientific details about a Yagi-Uda antenna. So, look at the outline. The outline. The first point of the outline is basics of Yagi-Uda antenna, then its structure, its radiation pattern, whatever radiation pattern, how we get that and why we get that, all those things we will be discussing under this topic. Then how to design a Yagi-Uda antenna, its advantages, disadvantages, and its application. These all things we are going to see under Yagi-Uda antenna. Now let us start with basics of Yagi antenna. So it is a directional antenna. It is a directional antenna. What do you mean by a directional antenna? A directional antenna is an antenna which is having radiation pattern focused or directed in only one single direction. Okay, and the omnidirectional is the antenna which radiates in all possible direction. Okay, so it is a directional antenna. Its operating frequency is about 10 megahertz. Okay, now um, you can design a Yagi-Uda antenna for below 10 megahertz also, but in that case it will be a very large antenna. Okay, it will be a very large antenna, so it has to be about 10 megahertz. Okay, then the third point is it can be used for uh, 40 kilometers to 60 kilometers of distance. Okay, so for this distance, it is the most effective or most efficiently working antenna. For the more distance than that, then its electrical size will again be a part of worry. It will have to be designed again, or it will become more critical, and the only increase will be in its gain. Okay. Now it has two types of elements in it. That is the active element, and the second one is parasitic element. Now, whatever Yagi-Uda antennas you have seen up till date, they have two types of active element. One is a simple dipole, and the another one is folded dipole. Many a times in class, I have told you why the folds or the bends or the trunches in the element are necessary for the element to radiate. Okay, so for that reason the folded dipole. So in Yagi-Uda antenna, one of the element is a active element. It is also called as a driven element, and all the other elements other than the active elements are called as parasitic elements. These parasitic elements includes the reflectors and directors. Now, this is the structure of a Yagi-Uda antenna. Now, first let us understand what is the active element. In an antenna, if you provide excitation to some element, then it is called as a active element. Okay, whichever element is excited, or so obviously that is going to radiate, then it is called as a active element. Parasitic elements are not connected to a power supply directly. Okay, those are called as reflectors and directors in case of Yagi-Uda antenna. Now in this slide you can see I have shown a reflector with the red element, okay, and the brown elements determine the directors. Okay, these are all parasitic elements. Only the blue element in this is an active element, that is a simple dipole which is connected to the AC power supply. Okay, so this was all about the structure of this is basically a 6-element Yagi-Uda antenna. You can design it for other numbers of antenna also, other number of elements. Now let us discuss about the radiation of the Yagi-Uda antenna. Now I have driven 3 elements over here. In diagram A, I have just drawn a simple dipole with the AC with the excitation of AC supply given to it. Then in diagram B, I have drawn 2 elements, that is active element and a reflector. Okay. Then in diagram C, I have drawn all the elements, that is the active element, the reflector and all the directors. Now let us see in diagram A. Let us first concentrate on diagram A and let us understand, if I consider only a simple dipole and if it is excited with some AC supply, how it will radiate. As I have explained you in the class for many a times, that a simple dipole is going to give me a omnidirectional radiation pattern. The radiation pattern which looks like a donut shape. If I try to visualize it in a 3-dimensional form, then it will look like a donut. So if the front section of the donut, it will look like this, as if it is given in figure A. Okay, so a simple dipole will give me a omnidirectional radiation pattern as shown in diagram A. But while explaining, or when I started with Yagi-Uda antenna, that time I have said that Yagi-Uda antenna is a directional antenna. Now we have to understand how all these other elements, parasitic elements which are not active elements, how they help to direct this radiation pattern, this radiation into one particular direction. Now let us concentrate on the other figure, that is figure number B. In this figure you will see there is presence of a dipole, okay, which is radiating or which is giving me a omnidirectional radiation pattern, and associated other element associated with that is a reflector. Okay, now what the reflector does, it the reflector will reflect back the back lobe into a front side of the driven element. Driven element is an active element, and because of that, the radiation pattern in presence of a reflector I get is as shown in figure B. Okay, you can see in figure B the back lobe of the simple dipole has been suppressed, is been reflected to the front side of a driven element. So the lobes, the remaining or the very little reflected or back lobes or the side lobes which I get is shown in the figure over here. In this case, the front lobe becomes bigger than it was in the earlier case, that is in diagram A, that you can notice over here. Then you can move to diagram C. In diagram C, here along with the reflector, all the other 4 directors are present. Okay, now in this case what happens? what these directors do. These directors, you just try to guess and try to understand what the directors are doing over here. Now, in next case, we have directors in association with the driven and the reflector elements. So the beam in front direction gets sharper. So the beam width of the measure lobes will be decreased as you increase on the number of directors. So the radiation will be as shown in figure C. Okay, that is, we can see the measure lobe magnitude is decreased due to the directors and beam gets narrow. Okay, and gain will increase in this case. Okay, so here you can see, or here you can identify the function of the director as the elements to sharpen the beam. Okay, the reflector will reflect it back to the front side. Okay, and what the directors will do, director is trying to sharpen the beam to increase its gain. Okay, to direct it more towards one particular direction, that is, your beam is getting sharpened. This is the work of the director, and more the number of directors, more will be your beam be sharper. Increase, there will be increase in the gain. Okay, so this is how a Yagi antenna functions. Now you can see in this slide the design equations for 3-element Yagi antenna. As I told you, there are 3 important parts in this antenna. The first one is the active element, that is the driven element, the reflector element, and the director elements. Number of directors also can increase from 1 to many. Also, you can increase number of reflectors, but increase in reflector does not give any significant change in the output, or any change in the desired output. So it's of actually no use to use more than one reflector. So maximum time reflector is one, but director, of course, the, as I told you just now, increase in number of director will sharpen your beam. So for the basic understanding, we will first design the 3-element Yagi Uda antenna. So these are some simple and easy to memorize equations which will help you to design a Yagi Uda antenna very easily. Now you can say, see over here, length of active element is given by LA. The formula is 478 by F, frequency in megahertz. Now this will give me answer in feet. But if you want to get it in meters, then it comes out, then the new equation is 143 by frequency, again in megahertz. Okay, so accordingly I have given you the equations for reflector, that is 492 by frequency in feet or 150 by frequency in meters. Then length of directors, it could be 461.2 by frequency in feet and 138 by frequency in meters. So this is how or this must be the length of the active element, the reflector, and the director element in case of the 3-element Yagi antenna. Now the spacing between these elements also is important. So for now, for 3-element Yagi Uda antenna, you just keep in mind that the spacing between the elements should be lambda by 4. Now as the elements change, how this size must be changed, how this spacing distance must be changed, that I will explain you once we approach that topic. But for now, for 3-element, the spacing between the elements must be lambda by 4. Now let us see the advantages of Yagi antenna. It has high gain of about 9 dB. Its front to back ratio is high. It's very obvious. The front lobe is much bigger or much sharper. The gain is more. So obviously your front to back ratio will be high. It is cheap. It is very easy to fabricate. It is light in weight. Okay. Now the disadvantages of Yagi-Uda antenna are that for higher gain levels the antenna becomes very long. If you increase the limits of 20 dB and above, then your antenna size will increase very large, so large that it doesn't become feasible to design this antenna. So some gain limitations are there. Now applications of Yagi antenna, it is used for high frequency range, that is 3 to 30 megahertz, very high frequency range, that is 30 to 300 megahertz, ultra high frequency range, that is 300 to 3000 megahertz. It is used for home TV receivers. Okay, then it is used for point to point communication. Now point to point communication is, again, as I told you earlier, the very long distance communication in which the satellite antennas, the earth station antennas are involved, and they are supposed to communicate with each other, or some antenna which is locating the target, some particular target, some minute target, some small target. In this case, the antenna has to be very or the gain of the antenna or the directivity of the antenna has to be very good. In this case, Yagi is very feasible. Now let us see. I have just taken one example of design of a 3-element Yagi antenna for 900 megahertz. So obviously, first you should find out lambda. Lambda is equals to C by F. So lambda comes out to be 0.333 meters. Okay, then you can find out the length of the active element by the formula which I have given you earlier. You can find out, you can memorize any one formula. Say suppose 478 by F in feet, you find it out, and if you just multiply 0.3 by it, you can get answer in meters also. So in this way I get these three lengths for the active element, reflector element, and the director, and also I get the spacing. Now let us see and understand the design of 6-element Yagi antenna. But before going to the design of a 6-element Yagi antenna, let me discuss some guidelines for 6-element Yagi antenna with you. The very first one is the length of the active element is slightly less than lambda by 2. That means whatever frequency range you are using, the length of your active element should be less than by its half time. Okay, that means its length should be less than half of the wavelength on which you are working. So it ranges from 0.45 lambda to 0.49 lambda. It is slightly less than lambda by 2. Okay, then length of the reflector must be 5% greater than the length of the active element. Okay, if it and it has to be spaced lambda by 4 away from the active element. That is fixed. The reflector has to be 5% greater than the active element, and it must be spaced 0.25 lambda away from the active element. Okay, the length of the directors, the length of all the directors must be 5% less than the active element. Okay, that means the length of the directors must fall between 0.4 lambda to 0.45 lambda. The spacing between the directors and active elements must fall between 0.35 lambda to 0.45 lambda. Now these are important guidelines when you design a 6-element array antenna, 6-element Yagi antenna. Based on this specifications only, you have to design a 6-element array antenna. Yagi antenna. Now here I have taken one example of a 6-element Yagi antenna for 12 dB gain. Okay. Now here I have given you the length of the reflector has to be 0.475 lambda. This is taken as according to the guidelines. We have decided all these things. The length of the active element has to be slightly less than lambda by 2, so it is 0.46 lambda it is taken. Then all the directors are not equal. The first director has to be is taken as 0.44 lambda. The second director is also 0.44 lambda. The third and fourth are 0.43 and 0.4 lambda respectively. Okay, now as I told you, the spacing between reflector and active element is fixed, that is lambda by 4, and the spacing between the active element and the directors is must fall between 0.35 lambda to zero point 0.4 lambda. So here it is taken 0.31 lambda. Now here I have taken spacing as S1 and S2 for all the remaining elements, because the spacing between the active element and the directors is same. Okay, so it is always 0.31 lambda. Okay, now let us solve, and this we will be designing for 500 megahertz. So here I have shown you. So first, as we start the designing, first of all, we must find out lambda. It comes out to be 0.6 meters for 500 megahertz of frequency. Okay, then I have tried to find out LR, that is the length of the reflector according to the specifications given above. Okay, then it comes out to be 0.285 meters. Then I have found out length of the active element, length of a director. 1 and 2 directors will remain same because they were of the same length. Then director 3, director 4 are being found out. Then spacing between the active and the reflector, that is S1, and active and all the other directors, that is S2. So I get all this numbers. Based on this, I can design my reflector, sorry, my Yagi-Uda antenna. Okay, so this was all about the design of a Yagi-Uda antenna. Now students, I hope this has made you understand what the Yagi-Uda antenna is. Okay, um, and it has cleared in your mind that how to design a Yagi-Uda antenna. So please try some numericals based on this, and if you have any doubt, you can always contact me. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. In my next lecture, I will try to explain you about wave propagations. Okay, so thank you.